You started your career in 1998 with Kallukondoru Pennu, SL Puram, Sophocles. It's a wide range of writers. Why are you so obsessed with film adaptations?
My career in the visual media started much before. I would find the beginnings more in my television works, which started around 89, 90. And then it was 98, the first feature film was Agni Sakshi. So even in film, in my film career, I would believe it started with Agni Sakshi rather than Kalyan Rupanam. So right from the television days where I used to do the short films, it was always based on stories. Because films have to base on some material, and your skill as a filmmaker need not match with your skill as a story writer. And I would like my films to be based on something substantial, something solid. So when the foundation is very strong as a great story, then it is much more easier and useful to make an edifice of a film over it. So that's the kind of practice I had been following till now, mostly. But there are a few original writings, but those again are not already made screenplay coming to me as a director, whereas I'm always in the process of creating that screenplay as well. It's right from the story level, idea level.
Though you focus mainly on a realistic portrayal of great literary works, you have a huge star cast in your movies. Is it really necessary?
Well, film is also a business which needs a lot of a big investment. So it goes without saying that one has to be aware that how that investment is going to be recouped. Okay, so I have to take care that it reaches people. It is attractive enough to a larger cross section of people who would like to watch it, and actors, stars are the key component in doing so. So it is always a consideration when you get into the practicality of making a script to a movie, that what are the elements by which I can draw people to the theatre. Whereas in television, it doesn't matter. There is a captive audience already there. I'm talking about the Doordarshan days, where there was no competition at all. So I don't have to worry about drawing people to the film. Whereas in the world of cinema, that is a necessity, in terms of it reaching to the theatre and in terms of it having its run. Because they are also good actors, okay? So the point is whether I cast suitably or not. The point is not whether I cast an unknown person or a known person. So is the person suitable for the role or not is the question finally.
It seems that your original screenplays do better in box office compared to the adaptations. Let it be Hey Jude or Ritu.
I don't think so. I don't really think so. I don't think you can bifurcate an original screenplay and an adapted screenplay. Both had its own viewership, its own level of success and failures, appreciation and critic. So it doesn't matter really whether it's an adaptation or an original screenplay. It matters whether it has become a good film or not.
Agni Sakshi, Artist, Ore Kadal. Your women are always more powerful and are often given more importance than the male characters. Is it intentional?
I think it's only in contrast with what is around you in the film industry, that it's mostly hero oriented. That my films seem to be female dominated or female oriented. It is not I think that is a situation by that happens because of the current context. I see a film as a story about everybody, children, old people, men, women, animals, nature around you. So it's all a composite thing. It's not that you make something to propagate an idea of a woman or a man. It depends on what the story is like, how is it growing up. But in any case, the whole world of human life and other lives is part of that world. So one doesn't actually go for a female-centric or a male-centric film per se.
And music. Music is not just being used as a backdrop, rather, it plays a crucial role in your feelings. Maybe like any other human character.
Yeah, music is a wonderful tool, Music is a great tool, as much as cinematography or editing or actors or dialogues or whatever. That adds to the film's experiential world. And music is even more powerful because it affects us in a very subliminal level, unlike any other component. So it's very important that the music is right for it and used very judiciously. I think I had used music, a little too much in my earlier works, but over the years I had been extremely being disciplined and austere with my choice of the music and the usage, number of cues, the kind of volume it has. But yeah, I'm an avid listener of many kinds of music. Indian, Western, pop, classical, folk, tribal, whatever you name it, world music, all that. So that culture, that orientation, that understanding of music and the experience of it comes slowly into it. So much so that when I imagine a film, it is always with the music that would go with it. The last two films, like A Sunday, and the film that I am currently making, Kasiminte Kadal, the background score is done by myself. So it has assumed so much importance that way.
Off season was delightful and Kunjapai was remarkable. Where did you get that character from?
Off season is a kind of an anthology film on the theme of travel, journey. So different directors were trying to explore different aspect of journey as a metaphor. And I used the kind of a tourism scenario in Kerala and the kind of underbelly of it, which I have witnessed directly in places like Kovalam or Varkala. Yeah, so that's where Kunjapai comes from. Yeah.
Talking about your acting career.
My acting career? Is there a career such as my acting career? Okay. Well, I have done a few appearances. I don't think it's an acting career.
Most of your characters are bureaucrats or they belong to upper class.
Yeah, is it? Yeah. You should ask the directors why it's so.
Do you have any so-called dream characters?
Nothing, absolutely nothing. No, it's just mostly fun. Some of them are directed by my assistant directors. So it's part of being, giving them a kind of supportive, it's a gesture of support basically. Or some of them, some friends who would like to have me in the set. I think the biggest role that I've played is of the doctor in drama, Ranjit's film.
Drama, okay.
Yeah, Ranjit's film, in which I was a doctor, not a bureaucrat. So that's because he wanted my company there. Yeah.
So you were a doctor.
1 by 2, I was a psychiatrist. Yeah. I don't know. I mean, people. You should ask the directors of these films why I'm cast like that. I'm just there for fun. It's not a career. It just happened. But it's a good experience. It teaches a director different aspects of how an actor feels on a set. So that has been very educational for me. So when you're a director or when you're behind the camera, you don't really realize what goes on in an actor's mind. You assume you do, but you really don't, because there are so many little doubts and worries and insecurities, confusions, which a director may not be able to cover enough, you know. So being an actor, being in front of a camera and asked to do something, you realize that you have 100 questions about various things, and you have hardly had any answer from the director or anybody else. So that's an understanding of what actually goes in an actor's mind, because that's a very critical component in filmmaking. An actor, how the actor is convinced, how the actor understands what he's supposed to do in it, all that thing. So it's also an educational thing for me, the few roles that I did.
Your new work is Kasimende Kadal.
Yeah.
What's it about?
Oh, this is based on a novel, a beautiful novel by Anis Salim called The Small Town Sea, which was published 2 or 3 years ago. This is about a boy who comes from a city to live in a small seaside town, a place like Varkala, and about his life experience, a life changing experiences, how he becomes a man in that level, you know, the kind of life he faces.
Why are you oriented more towards Bengali literature, or is it just coincidental?
Well, every regional language literature has its own power and strength. You know, it's just that in India, because of the difference in language, we don't get to understand and read many of the beautiful classics that is written in Marathi or Gujarati. There are wonderful poets and novelists all around us. But Bengali, because of historic relationships between two languages and so on, and the political, social connections, Bengali literature is more accessible to us right from the 50s and 60s with translations. So we are aware of the great writers of mm, of the Bengali literature. Also because of the cinema, let's say by Satyajit Ray, you know, we know Vibhuti Bhushan and Shankar and uh, yeah, Yashpal and all these people. Um, so I kept, apart from the movies, I kept reading these English translations or Malayalam translation whenever possible. So that's why I was oriented more towards that. But I was also abreast generally with other language literature and great writers of Indian languages. The relationship between literature and cinema has always intrigued me, excited me, and most of my works are based on some literary work or the other. So it's with great happiness that I learned that Bhavanatma College is conducting a 2-month-long workshop on the relationship with literature and cinema. Literature and cinema, and literature as cinema, which I think is a wonderful subject. I think these interdisciplinary discussions will pave way for the students to understand the dynamics of both these media and what happens when it's transformed to the other. So I wish the college and the Department of English of Pavanatma College all success, and I hope the participants of this workshop will benefit from it. Thank you.